Thanks for joining me on episode 583 of the Inspired Stewardship Podcast.
I'm Mark Aho, author of Building Wealth and Living in Faith. I challenge you to invest in yourself, invest in others, develop your influence, and impact the world by using your time, your talent, and your treasures to live out your calling. Having the right relationship between faith and money is key to doing that, and one way to be inspired to do that is to listen to this, the Inspired Stewardship Podcast with my friend, Scott Mader.
See, it's so important to your mental and physical well-being that you create some level of structure and routine, especially when things are crazy. Because out of that structure and routine, it gives you the ability to control those things that you can control, which makes it easier to deal with the things that you can't control.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. If you truly desire to become the person who God wants you to be, then you must learn to use your time, your talent, and your treasures for your true calling. In the Inspired Stewardship Podcast, you will learn to invest in yourself, invest in others, and develop your influence so that you can impact the world.
In today's episode about investing in others by stewarding your time, I talk with you about why routine is important, especially when things are going crazy. What are a few things you can do to keep your routine, and why this is vital for your mental and physical well-being so that you can go out and help others, either virtually or in person. You know, one area that a lot of folks need some help with is around the area of productivity. Getting not just more things done, but actually getting the right things done can be really, really tough. I've got a course called Productivity for Your Passion that's designed to help you do this and then to hold you accountable and walk with you so that you can tailor productivity not just to be getting more done, but actually getting the right things done. What's more, we take the approach of looking at your personality and how you actually look at things in the world and tailor the productivity system to your personality. Because the truth is, a lot of the systems that are out there are written really well for somebody with a particular personality type. But if you have a different approach to things, they just don't work. But there's tools and techniques and approaches that you can take that will work for anyone. And we help you do that in Productivity for Your Passion. Check it out over at inspiredstewardship.com/launch. You know, if you've been paying attention and you're in the midst of this COVID-19 situation, maybe you're working from home for the first time and you've got your kids at home too, and your spouse, your pets, and all of these different things that are interfering with your ability to keep a routine. You used to be able to kind of know what day it was by what was going on. You would wake up in the morning and you had a certain set of things that you would do, and then you would go to work and you had a certain set of things that you would do, and then you would come home and that would trigger another set of things. Because see, you had built up habits and routines and cycles where you had a trigger that triggered a certain set of behavior. You know, one of the things I talk about when I'm helping people with productivity is how we need to set up routines. We need to use habit signals to create systems and processes and routines that allow us to move into and out of different phases of our day, our week, and our year. But what's interesting is now all those triggers have gotten completely messed up. And it's so important during times like this when things are going crazy. And by the way, it doesn't have to be something that's universal, that's across the whole globe like COVID-19. It could just be something like a spouse losing a job, you losing a job, someone getting sick. Even just the routine change from The regular school year to summertime when you have kids creates a disruption. And when you have these times that create a disruption in your routine, that's when it's really important to lean into your routine. And it's fine if you need to make adjustments. It's fine if you need to shift things. Maybe your time to get up and go to bed shifts because of something that's changed. Maybe there's new things that you have to add into your routine or take out of your routine because something has changed or something has disrupted or changed the importance of it. But the key here is that you pay attention to it and you deliberately reconstruct your routine and create a new structure as quickly as you can. And so I wanted to give you a couple of tips on doing that. What happens whenever all the routine is up in the air? What are the ways that you can get back to solid ground as quickly as possible? And the first step is to really think about what's important to you. Think about what are the most important non-negotiable things that you need to keep. Is it that at 5 o'clock you need to always sit down together as a family for dinner? Is it that you need certain amounts of time for your work day? Is it that you need physical exercise and time for that activity? What are the things that are non-negotiables? What are the things that are so important that no matter what, you don't want to give those up? They become the last thing that you remove from your routine. In part, I'm causing you to do this because anything that's not a non-negotiable is up for grabs. You could shift it if you need to. You could move it around if you need to. The second thing I want to recommend is that no matter what, no matter how chaotic things are, you spend a few minutes. And I actually do this the day before. So I do it as the last thing I do before I shut down for the night. I plan the next day. And then what happens when I wake up in the morning is I've already got a plan. And all I need to do is look and see if anything came in overnight by email or other contact that might cause me to need to shift something. And if it didn't, then I roll with the plan and get going really quickly. But you spend at least 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day and work on planning your day. And so for me, when that nightly planning gets disruptive, when maybe I'm sick or I have an agenda or something that causes me to have to leave the house and not be able to do my normal evening plan, I have to recreate that part of the structure the next morning. Each day, I would suggest you identify what's the one thing that you must get done today. Put that on your agenda first. Try to get it done early if you can. And remember, everything that you plan takes longer than you expected it to. So you need to give yourself extra time. If you think something's going to take 3 hours, it's probably going to take 5. That's just the way it works. Keep thinking in advance about making sure that you do as much as you can to streamline your ability to stay on routine. Remove distractions. Create friction around things you don't want to do and make it easier to do the things you do want to do. If you want to stop snacking, the easiest thing to do is get rid of all the snack food in the house. Same thing happens with other things around your routine. If you want to be able to exercise, make it easy. Get your exercise clothes out. Make it simple to exercise and harder to not exercise. And what happens is you begin to build that structure and routine over time. I go into a lot more depth on this in the productivity coaching that I do and in my productivity course. But that basic idea works whether things are chaotic or things are smooth. See, it's so important to your mental and physical well-being that you create some level of structure and routine, especially when things are crazy. Because out of that structure and routine, it gives you the ability to control those things that you can control, which makes it easier to deal with the things that you can't control. Because see, let's face it, in a time like this, there's only so much that you can do. There's only so much that you can control, but it gives you the ability to control the things you can. And why this is so important, and I put this when we're talking about serving others. See, if you're the calm person your calmness spreads and helps others remain calm. And that routine is one source of that ability to be calm and collected and be the person that's not panicking when everyone else is, but instead bring a modicum of calmness to others. And out of that is the best service you can ever give. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for listening to the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. As a subscriber and listener, we challenge you to not just sit back and passively listen, but act on what you've heard and find a way to live your calling. If you like this episode on the stewardship of time, be sure to sign up for our Stewardship of Time Tips series by going to inspiredstewardship.com/time or texting 44222 Time Tips, and that'll get you our best tips on stewarding your time. Until next time, invest your time, your talent, and your treasures. Develop your influence and impact the world.